President Uhuru Kenyatta at the Head Teachers Conference that enters day 2 today in Mombasa. Let's now get into politics. The NASA team is this afternoon expected to hold rallies in parts of Machakos and Kajiado counties. The rallies are meant to cement their support in both areas, and our senior political reporter Duncan Haemba is on that campaign trail and now joins us for details live from Emali. Duncan, we know that the NASA candidate is yet to make his way there, but just give us their itinerary. Which stops are they expected to make in these particular counties?
Akisa, yes, I understand that there was a briefing at Capitol Hill, matters to do with, I believe, elections that necessitated the NASA brigade or the NASA Big Five to delay on hitting the ground. But in terms of where we expect them in Kajiado County, they were supposed to start in Loitoktok town, but that will not be the case. They'll have to be at Kimana. Then from Kimana, they will be here in Emali town. Then depending on what time the Emali rally ends, they will be hopping over to Kitengela town, which is a cosmopolitan and they believe big in terms of their support. Of course, that is if you're looking at the current governor of Kajiado County, David Nkedianye. So as it stands now, we have a confirmation they've had to revise their plan again in terms of where they will be doing their campaigns this afternoon, and that is Kimana, Emali Town, and Kitengela, Akisa.
We know that that particular brigade was in Kajiado just a few days ago, and remarks that were made there have been making national headlines on matters to do with land. Is the opposition, NASA, trying to make things right this time round with these particular rallies in Kajiado?
Definitely, that issue, as many would call it, is a hot potato now. Of course, matters land are very, very emotive. In 2013, they largely played out during the presidential campaigns and the promises that were made on what was to change depending on which outfit was to assume power. And then, of course, largely centered on TGRC report, which despite being tabled in Parliament, the 11th Parliament, unfortunately, in their wisdom, they failed to debate it and implement it. Therefore, it is likely going to rear its head. Of course, given what the NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga made and the heat it elicited, you saw him yesterday convene a press briefing at Capitol Hill office, of course trying to set the record straight in what he said, that perhaps he might have been misquoted out of context, trying to straighten things. Of course, he was accompanied by a section of members of parliament from the Maasai community. We saw, of course, Elijah Memusi from Kajiado Central. We saw from Laikipia, Matthew Lempurkel, clearly telling you that perhaps that particular issue will generate a lot of heat, and that could inform the reason as to why they are back in Kajiado County. But depending on how you look at it, it's largely politics of ring-fencing the territory. That explains why they are sort of going around each other. Last week, NASA was in Tharaka Nithi and Meru counties. That is where Jubilee will be going. Jubilee, on the other hand, was in Trans Nzoia. They were in Bungoma. They were in Kakamega. That is where NASA is headed from Thursday. So they are actually engaging in politics of ring-fencing their territory in as much as you try to invade the stronghold of the opponent. So that is kind of the politics that we'll be looking at it. So in Kajiado, we can, largely, yes, the issue of land will crop up, but largely NASA is actually trying to make inroads and solidify their support. Remember, in 2007, this is a region the Maasai community overwhelmingly voted for ODM. Of course, we had the late Ntimama there. We had Nkaiseri, the CS there. They were very strong, and the Maasai community almost voted to the last man in terms of the percentage. In 2013, and NASA, as it stands now, of course, it was called. They only managed to get Kajiado Central under Nkaiseri and the governorship under Nkedianye. Now we have Nkedianye and Memusi as the two men are still standing, and that is what perhaps NASA wants to affirm their authority in terms of if they have the governor governor, they believe with his network, they can turn tables on Jubilee and perhaps reclaim territory. So that is the kind of politics, Akisa, that perhaps we expect to see this afternoon.
See how that goes. Duncan, thank you. He is our senior political reporter on the campaign trail of the National Super Alliance this afternoon and the next few days as they traverse a number of counties. Remember, this week, Jubilee will also be going back to their home turf, Central Province.